What if Justice Antonin Scalia was murdered? A lot of what we try to do is expose the dangers of big government. Big government is not limited to one party, as we have shown in previous videos. Unfortunately, this day and age, with the death of such a highly political figure, we speak more about the future outcomes of the death than we do about the person that died. Before we go any further, we would like to thank Justice Scalia for his service to our country. We would also like to offer our condolences to his family, as well as our thoughts and prayers. Throughout this video, we would not only like to show the danger our country is in, but I hope most of you can see what a great contribution this man gave our country. Justice Scalia was one of 5 conservative justices that kept our country safe from this socialistic, progressive movement our country is headed towards, which we also have shown in previous videos. It is true that he could have died from natural causes, but we have several issues that make us to believe otherwise. Let's take them in order, and then we will discuss the important cases coming to the Supreme Court. Lastly, we will show a media montage that shows how common it is for one party to stop nominees from a last-year president. For any of you that wonder if we would put out a video if the parties were reversed, we are new to YouTube, but we will expose big government or a global agenda no matter what party is leading. We recently did an Agenda 21 video, as can be seen here, which President George H.W. Bush signed off on. But let's get back to Justice Scalia. Justice Scalia went to a private hunting party with about 35 other guests at Cabola Creek Ranch, which is a 30,000-acre spread owned by the Texas millionaire John Poindexter. John Poindexter, who is a Democratic contributor, invited Justice Scalia personally for a first-time visit to his ranch. Justice Scalia, the night of his death, was very entertaining according to other guests, and showed no signs of any sickness. He went to bed saying that it has been a long night and a long week, and he's tired. At 8 a.m. he was due for a hunting party. When he didn't show up, Mr. Poindexter, not an employee, went to his room to wake him up by knocking very loudly. This is our first issue. Maybe it's just because we aren't special enough, but I've never had an owner of a lodging institute give me a wake-up call. But it doesn't stop there. What was John Poindexter's first thought a couple hours later? It wasn't that Justice Scalia overslept or was just too tired to hunt. No. His first thought was, and I quote, "I was worried I was going to find something very tragic." I could only guess that being an owner of a lodge, that a lot of people every year overslept. Considering no known deaths occurred overnight with guests, why was this even a thought? Why something very tragic? Our next issue is being found with a pillow over his head. Without interviewing his family, we really don't know much about his sleeping habits. We do know that the majority of people would only place a pillow over their head after the sun comes up to block their eyes. Sunrise was just after 7:30 a.m., which would mean he died between 7:30 and 8 a.m. But when did he die? Well, we will never know, which comes to our next concern. Texas Law Code of Criminal Procedures on Autopsies, Article 49.04, on deaths requiring an inquest, stipulates when an autopsy is required. In Section A of the article, line 6, the person dies without having been attended by a physician. This, along with the other parts, require Justice Scalia to have an autopsy. So what does the autopsy say? Well, against the statutes, he didn't have one. Actually, he was sent to the funeral home for an immediate embalming. A county judge by the name of Cinderella Guevara pronounced him dead by natural causes over the phone. You heard that right. A county judge, not a physician, pronounced him dead of natural causes. She never even saw the body, but yet knew there was no foul play. Lastly, Poindexter explicitly said, quote, that we discovered the judge in bed, a pillow over his head. His bedclothes were unwrinkled. In another quote, he was lying there very restfully. Now we discussed the pillow over his head, but why even mention the state of his clothes or how restful he looked? To actually say the word unwrinkled or restful implies no struggle. But why even say that unless you are trying to manipulate the circumstance? If I walked in on a dead body, I wouldn't even consider the state of his clothes. Is this just me? When adding so many observations or adjectives, this usually means a well thought out plan or scheme. I don't care what side of the political fence you are on. Something doesn't add up. Like most conspiracies, you have to look at the outcome. So let's take a look at cases coming up. Who benefits from the death? There is no doubt that the Honorable Justice Scalia's death is a major blow to conservatives. Here are some of the blows that the conservatives will take. Number 1. Voting rights. One person, one vote. No matter the legal status, the delegates of each county could go off of total population, which includes illegal aliens, rather than total U.S. citizens. Number 2. Affirmative action. Scalia played a leading role in slowing down affirmative action, thinking it was best to have an equal competitive field. Number 3. Labor unions. This would have limited national union power. Number 4. Abortion. Adding new strict regulations to Texas abortion laws. Number 5. Religious contraception. Nonprofits and religious organizations may now have to add this to their health insurance, which could cause them to go bankrupt. Number 6. Immigration. More than 4 million illegal aliens are up for deportation, which now can be blocked. Now these are what could come up to the Supreme Court this year. Number 1. Redefining the Second Amendment. There's no doubt that the socialistic and progressive movement wants to change this. We feel this will be a fast-moving issue with a new liberal SCOTUS judge. Number 2. Repeal of the 22nd Amendment. With Hillary Clinton going through the legal issues and with Bernie Sanders now leading the polls, we feel it will be a strong push from the left to repeal this amendment, which will lead to a third-term run of President Obama. And number 3, the eligibility of Ted Cruz's run for president. I think we all know that getting rid of Ted Cruz is the left's dream. Is he eligible? As of right now, the Supreme Court says yes. Was Justice Scalia murdered, or did he die of natural causes? We leave this for you to decide. As always, please subscribe as we need your support. It's fun, fast, and easy to do. Just click on subscribe. Thank you for watching and stay tuned as we continue to discuss the global agenda.
That we should not confirm any Bush nominee to the Supreme Court except in extraordinary circumstances. They must prove by actions, not words, that they are in the mainstream, rather than we have to prove that they are not.
Let's get more on this now from the number 2 Democrat in the Senate, Chuck Schumer of New York, also a member of the Judiciary Committee. So let's look at the math right here. You heard Senator Cruz say he's going to filibuster. Mitch McConnell says it's not going to happen. You only have 46 votes in the Senate, so there's not going to be a nominee here.
Well, the job, first and foremost, is for the president to nominate and for the Senate to hold hearings and go through the process. You know, the Constitution, Ted Cruz holds the Constitution when he walks through the halls of Congress. Let him show me the clause that says the president's only president for 3 years. That's what Democrats
are.
Well, no, I'm not sure that's true. You know, the kind of obstructionism that Mitch McConnell's talking about, he's harking back to his old days. You know, I will do everything in my power to prevent one more ideological ally from joining Roberts and Alito on the court. Thank you.
So right now, I would love you to give a warm, wonderful, and really, really loud welcome to Patty Murray.
And now, they are even trying to stop President Obama from nominating a Supreme Court justice. That is absurd and it is wrong.
Yes.
And it makes it clear how high the stakes are today.
Right.
These are the Republicans who think someone like Ted Cruz should be our president. They watch Mad Men and think it's a how-to guide. Well, time to set up and send us someone. We're going to be through 2 court sessions. We have a lot of critical decisions that need to be made. The president has an obligation to set us up.
I'm a stringer.
Myself.
It depends what I get.
Thank you very much.
We're walking and talking. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Senator Murray, hi.
Sorry, we're in
So-
a rush. Sorry.
That's okay, I can walk and talk.
Go ahead to that car.
So
right
you're
there.
dissing on the Republicans for delaying the Supreme Court approval. What about when Chuck Schumer said the same thing when Bush was in office and Bush wanted to appoint someone at the end of his term? And your buddy Schumer and your Democrats were also blocking his nominations. What do you think about that? I know what, she can't walk and talk at the same time?
We have somewhere to go.
Senator Murray, what do you think about the hypocrisy of Charles Schumer in your own party? What do you think of the hypocrisy? Senator Murray, do you not think that's hypocritical?